Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Menu Day. So, we have some new recipes this week. Some of them are kind of twists on some classics. And you'll never believe it, I went over budget. I don't think I've ever gone over budget, but sure enough, I did. So, let's look at the menu and look at the grocery list. You can see why I went over budget. Here is our menu for this week. You'll see that there's like some nice variety, bunch of different styles. And of course, we're still not using our oven. So we're going to use the crock pot, the air fryer, the stove top, and we're going to avoid the oven at all costs because it is already hot outside. We don't need to make it any hotter. But like last week was like low effort and low cook. This is still going to be low effort, but there is a little bit more cooking involved. So let's look at the grocery list. As you can see, the total for this week's menu was $60.04. So technically, I went over budget by 4 cents. I hope you can forgive me. I did try to see if I could get under it, it just didn't happen. Now, this week is just a really fun menu as far as doing some new twists on classics. But we did need a couple pantry staples. And if I had included everything, our total actually would have been closer to $65. So for this week, the assumed list, we always assume you have your preferred cooking oil and your favorite seasonings. But this time, you will need one recipe that needs a little butter or a little margarine. You will need a little bit of just all purpose flour or whatever flour you like to use, a little bit of soy sauce, and a little bit of mustard. And the reason why I put them on the assumed list is because they're very small quantities and we've had them recently on our list. So odds are good you have them. But there are some really basics on here. So you can still go through here and check off some items before you ever get to the store. Now, when it's time to either place your order or go to the store, I have 2 links down below. The first one is to my Walmart grocery list. You can go and change the zip code to your area and you will be able to see what the total would be at your local Walmart. That's really helpful. Now, when you look at the list, every once in a while, they just have items that are regional. So if that item's not available, it will give you some weird wackadoodle pricing. So if you see anything that's just way overpriced, just search for it and switch it out with something else. The second link goes to my website where you can print a totally free printable. It has the list, it has all the recipes, everything you need. It's all in black and white because we're not trying to use up your ink. So now let's go into the actual recipes. Actually, I'm wrong. Let's look at what you can do ahead this week. Now, this week we will actually be doing some cooking, whereas last week we used a lot of meats and stuff that was already, pre-cooked. So there's not a whole bunch that you're going to do to make ahead, but there are some things that could save you some time. The first thing is we're going to use one of those big packs of chicken and we're going to break it up into 3 different meals. Now, the way that I have this set up, one recipe is going to use diced chicken, one recipe is going to use the whole chicken breast, and one recipe is going to use either like big cubes or strips. So I would just go ahead and open this pack up, go ahead and make the cuts that you need, go ahead and put them into like Ziploc, bags or any containers you like. And then you can go ahead and put that directly in the freezer, or you can put it in the fridge and just pull it each night. We are going to use one of those pork loins. They're about 1.25 pounds, and we are going to either do slices like you would almost like mini pork chops, or you can just cube this up, whichever your preference is. Now, we are going to use ground pork this week, and this is one of those, just like with ground beef or ground turkey, you can easily cook this ahead of time, drain off any excess grease, and then put it in a container, and you can freeze it or refrigerate it for later. That way, on the night of, you just take it out of the fridge or the freezer, and boom, you're ready to go. You can skip the whole cooking the meat section. Now, we will use 1 onion and 1 bell pepper. The onion we're going to split over 2 recipes. We need half of it diced, half of it sliced, and go ahead and dice up the whole pepper. These are items that can totally be frozen, put in your freezer, and when it's time to cook, you don't even have to defrost them. You just throw them in a pan with oil. Now let's look at the recipes. The best way to describe this meal, it's a Southwest chicken and potato skillet. I want you to picture a baked potato, okay? And then I want you to imagine there's a chicken taco or chicken nachos on top of it, because that's basically the flavor that we're going to have. And it is so customizable. You can switch out a lot of these ingredients. You don't even have to use chicken. If you wanted to use like ground beef or ground pork or ground anything, totally use that. Okay. But we're going to basically make this all in one skillet. Now, to speed up that cooking process, because if you've ever tried to make like fried potatoes or like your own, like a potato hash, it does take a while for those potatoes to cook in the skillet. So, to cut down that time and make this an easy weeknight meal, what I would do is I would go ahead and wash your potatoes, stab them with a fork a couple times, put them on a microwave safe plate, put them in the microwave for about 3 minutes, flip them over, do another 3 minutes until they are tender. And I just keep flipping them and doing 3 minutes until they're nice and tender. Once they're tender, those things are going to be really hot. So just put them on the counter, let them cool until you can go ahead and like dice them or slice them. Now, another option that I've seen a lot of people do is they go ahead and dice the potatoes when they're raw, put some salt, and then put like a paper towel over a bowl and put those in the microwave. I personally haven't had great results doing that. I get like uneven cooking, but if you have good luck with that, totally do it that way. This is just going to take about 15 minutes off of the cooking time versus going ahead and cooking the potatoes in the pan. Once everything's all together, we're going to top it with some shredded cheese, put the cover on, and then boom, it's all melty. And I like to put a little sour cream on top. It is fabulous. Now, if you ever hang out on our Facebook page, you will know that I am all about pushing the quote unquote food rules. And I get some comments sometimes about how, oh, that's only a breakfast food. You have to make breakfast type things with it. Well, this recipe is going to totally buck that trend because we are going to use breakfast sausage links in a very unbreakfasty way. It does use pancake syrup or maple syrup, but it's very unbreakfasty, if you will. Now, we're going to go ahead and cook these breakfast sausage. You can do them in like a skillet, like on your stovetop, or my new favorite is to just throw them into the air fryer. I just put them in there. Usually I do 350 and then I just kind of keep an eye on them. Usually it takes about 8 minutes. Do like to kind of flip them halfway and just keep an eye on them. But honestly, that is going to depend on the sausage that you get. So you'll have to play that one by ear. Once those are ready in a little bowl, you are going to mix some the pancake syrup, which if you have maple syrup, good for you, but it was just too expensive. We're going to use just some mustard. You can use yellow mustard, brown mustard, spicy mustard, whatever you like, and then some soy sauce. So we're going to combine that sweetness with a little bit of saltiness, and then we're going to toss those cooked sausages in this, and it's going to give it like a maple mustard glaze. And then we're going to serve that over rice and with carrots. I like to do this more bowl style where the sauce gets on everything. And then, because trust me, who doesn't like carrots with that maple? But here's the thing, I have done this as a basic amount for those that are not trying to make a ton of sauce. So if you feel like you're going to really like this sauce, you can easily double it up. No problem there. Now, this next recipe is one that I just threw together one night and it turned out awesome because I'm used to making stroganoff with like slices of beef, like from a roast, or even with pork, like a pork roast. And you could use like leftover to make stroganoff, or even like ground beef, ground turkey. But I was thinking the other day, I'm like, I've never made it with chicken. So we made it even easier because we're going to throw some chicken in a crock pot. We're going to top it with some cream of mushroom soup and then whatever seasonings you like and half of a chopped onion. Now, I did mine with frozen chicken that was still frozen. So it had a little bit of moisture already in there as it melts. So depending on how hot your crock pot gets, you may want to add like a quarter cup of either water or chicken broth to this, but you can totally play that by ear. Now, once that is fully cooked, it usually takes about 6, 7 hours on low, 3 to 4 hours on high. You're just going to use forks and you're going to shred it all up. And then once that's shredded and it's all mixed together, we're going to add some sour cream, stir it a little bit more, and then serve it over egg noodles. It had a very much like a chicken pot pie vibe, but it was a little bit lighter, and honestly, it was much creamier. Someone mentioned like a chicken tetrazzini. It was definitely kind of like that. Now, I did mine with mixed vegetables, but we're going to do this one with sweet peas just because we're using carrots and corn and on other recipes. So I just wanted to give a little bit more variety there, but you can use whatever vegetable you like. Now, this next dish is also a crock pot dish, but we're going to use one of those pre marinated garlic flavored pork loins. Now, we are going to either cube this or slice this. Only because if you keep it whole, it can take a little bit longer to cook, and you're not always going to make sure that it's fully cooked. And what I mean by that is, yes, after 3 to 4 hours, it is going to be mostly cooked, but I find that sometimes it's just not the same consistency from the center to the ends. So I just like to do it where it's more cubed or sliced. Now, you may recognize this because this is very similar to the crock pot that we made with potatoes, sausage, and green beans. And it's definitely kind of that feel, but I wanted to show it to you with a pork loin. Now, the only difference here is we're going to add some grated Parmesan cheese for that extra flavor. We're going to use the powdered stuff. If you want to use freshly grated or the kind that's already grated, that's totally fine. This was just what was in our budget this time. Now, once this is all mixed together, put it in the crock pot. I typically like to add my frozen green beans at the beginning and just let them cook because I like them to get really soft. If you want those green beans to have, more texture to them and not be soft, you can add them at the end of the cooking, like the last 30 to 60 minutes. So play that one, whichever way you would like. This next meal is going to be kind of a twist on homemade chicken nuggets. Now, you can actually do this in like little chicken cubes where it's more nugget style, or you can cut the chicken into strips and it would be more chicken finger style. Just depends on your preference. Now, we're going to do a standard breading method, which means that we are going to first dunk these in a little flour, kind of give it a little wiggle. We're going to dip it into some beaten eggs. I like to add a little bit of water to mine. And then once they're coated with egg, we're going to put them into our breadcrumbs. We're going to use panko breadcrumbs. You can use whatever breadcrumbs you like. You can even use things like stale crackers. You could crunch up some croutons or good old fashioned crushed cornflakes. Seriously, just take a look at what you have, what you need to use up, and use that because I kind of like it with the more crunchier texture, like regular breadcrumbs, not super crunch, but the panko or the cornflakes, much bigger crunch. Oh, another one you could use would be like the bottom of the bag of like tortilla chips or potato chips, totally will work. We're going to cook those in the air fryer. And then once they are done, going to let them sit for a minute. And in a pan, we're going to combine our onion, our pepper, go ahead and cook those until they are tender. We're going to add our sweet and sour sauce to that same pan. And this is really just to thin it out a little bit because when you pour it out of the jar, it's very, very thick. But once you heat it up, it thins out. And then we're going to toss our chicken nuggets in that so it has that nice coating. Then we're going to serve this over rice with a side of broccoli or do it bowl style where you mix it all together, whichever way works for you. Now, every couple weeks, I get a couple questions that say things like, why don't you ever have spaghetti on your menus? And just like our family, anything that is pasta with a tomato based sauce, we call it spaghetti. It doesn't necessarily have to be on spaghetti noodles. And one of the reasons why I don't usually include spaghetti is because I would say most people know how to make spaghetti. So I'm not showing you anything new. But today we are going to do kind of that same spaghetti, but we're just going to call it something fancy and we're going to do a little twist at the end. So follow me here. We are going to use some ground pork. We're going to go ahead and cook that off. We're going to add in our pasta sauce. And then once that, our noodles are done, everything's pretty much cooked. This is the point where you typically would take your meat sauce and mix it with your spaghetti noodles or whatever noodles you're going to use. And then boom, it's done. But what we're going to do is we're going to think of, if you've seen my recipe before about the shashuka, where basically you're going to make 4 little holes in your sauce in the pan, and you're going to crack 4 eggs. And you're going to make like a fried egg. You can do it any style you want, where it's kind of over easy, over medium, over hard, anything. Okay. And then we're going to serve that over our noodles. I like to top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And then, of course, we're going to do this one was a Caesar salad kit, but you could pick any kit that you like, and we'll have a nice salad on the side. Of course, if you have any bread hanging around, this is a perfect night to add some garlic bread. Now, before you come at me and say, who in the world is putting fried eggs on spaghetti? Same. Trust me, that was the exact same thought that I had as well until I tried it. And it is so rich and so creamy. It is so unbelievably good. Now, I always like to serve our meals with fruit, and these are the top picks from Walmart. Now, I'm not going to lie and tell you that Walmart has the absolute best prices on fruit all the time. Unfortunately, that's just a lie. I love Walmart, don't get me wrong, but a lot of my local stores, they tend to have produce deals when it comes to fruits and veggies as loss leaders, meaning super low prices to get you in the door. So I want you to check your local stores first, see if they have better prices on fruit. Now, if you're a one-stop shopper and you're going to hit Walmart, these are the items that I would be most likely to buy. Now, this watermelon that I've mentioned here, this is the medium size one. They have a smaller one that is listed as a personal watermelon. It's pretty small. I would say it'd be good for one night. This one, honestly, they're pretty big to me, and we can eat on this for a whole week. They also have a larger one. I'm talking big mammoth one that's about $8. And to me, I just don't have the storage space in my fridge to handle that. So these are definitely some good options. I'm seeing lots of berries, starting to see cantaloupe, starting to even see better prices on tropical items like mangoes and pineapple. So definitely keep your eyes open. You can find some great fruit options at really cheap prices. Now, if you saw below, this is week 69 of our menu. So we've been doing this for a little over a year. We're coming up on the second half of the second year. And always want to open it up and to see what it is that you would like to see. Because even though I try to give lots of variety and lots of options, there's always something that I'm missing that you're looking for. So if you are looking for something in particular, please let me know. Keep in mind, though, I can't always do, like an entire menu that's gluten free, because then that's specific to the gluten free community. It's not something that everyone would want to do. I can definitely add some gluten free options where you may get 1 or 2 meals, but I can't do it for all of them. So if there's certain meats, certain ingredients, certain cooking methods, let me know down below what you would like to see in future menus, and I will see what I can do. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you later. Bye.